You should have experienced my mother's littleness. It's not like anything known on earth. It is so far from what you call humility now. If anyone could have been any tinier in my eyes, I would have chosen them. My mother knew full well what my plans were, and to her, all these things were signs along the way of the mystery and glory of the Incarnation. She didn't question how all would be accomplished. Rather, she reveled in the unfolding of my providential care, knowing that in due time all that was written in Scripture would come to pass. At my crucifixion, the contents of men's hearts were revealed for all to see, and my mother's heart was pierced by their rejection of me. She was in total accord with what had to be done to pay the price for you and mankind. In that moment, though she suffered terrible torments, she gave her consent as well. And people ask why she is so special to me? They know nothing of her interior life, or what she suffered on this earth for their sakes. When you enter into the mysteries of my cross, you are reliving the sentiments of my mother's heart the day I was crucified. She was indeed the very first Christian, and responded to my mission with her whole heart. She invested her entire self in me. And with me, she longed for the redemption, even to the piercing of her heart, that the thoughts of many may be revealed. She knew I was the Messiah, and not anything like what the religious people of the day were expecting. She knew I would be persecuted and put to death. Not only Simeon's words to her, but the knowledge of the sacred writings imparted to her in her youth at the temple was a bedrock foundation upon which she understood all these things to come, and that they would truly come to pass, just as they were written. She was exceptional from a very early age, and my words went deep into her little soul, indelibly imprinted. These are great mysteries that very few understand. She was not just a woman like all others. She had been chosen from birth to bring me into the world, and one of the preparations that accompanied her into this world was the privilege of unstained blood. In other words, by divine grace, she was granted the sacrament of baptism when she was conceived. It had to be so, or I could not have grown in her womb with the stain of sin in her body. Remember, she had Rahab the harlot in her ancestry. It is beyond the realm of everyday understanding to know what kind of woman was necessary in order for me to inhabit her body and draw nourishment from it. The preparations were elaborate and lifelong. It was not enough that she was granted these special privileges. She had to be faithful to them her entire life. An acute awareness of sin guided her actions as she spent her entire childhood focused on the glory and purity of God. This, too, was a miraculous grace. She had none of the impulses to sin that come with the Adam nature. Blood is very, very powerful. Your science has not even begun to understand its significance. The stain from sins down through the centuries had to be removed by an act of grace for her to carry me in the womb. And along with that came a painless childbirth, an event so sublime that even the angels were awestruck. Oh, so many things you, my people, do not know, so many things you assume and presume. But someday all will be revealed and made right in your minds. So you see, her beginnings were much different than even the best Hollywood portrayals. Volumes and volumes could be written about her childhood and the maternity, in preparation for my incarnation, and my early years as I was growing up. She was my advocate, anticipating outcomes and preparing solutions, praying to the Father and listening to his counsel. She was never far from him. She was, rather, always aware of his presence within her, and cultivated that inner union of hearts that is so precious to his heart. There are few on earth that have the depth of understanding to comprehend who my mother is to them, to the world, and to the Church.